Hi everybody, welcome back to Dave's Top 3000 Songs of the Rock Era. Today I'm up to song number 2458, and that one is Ruby Don't Take Your Love to Town by Kenny Rogers in the first edition. That's a mouthful. Anyway, this came out in 1969, and here's a picture of the single, and it was also released on their album of the same title. And as usual, I'm going to feature a sample of the song and react to it. So here goes.
You've painted up your lips and rolled your curly tinted hair. Ruby, are you contemplating going out somewhere? The shadow on the wall tells me the sun is going down. Oh, don't take your love to town. It wasn't me that started that old crazy Asian war, but I was proud to go and do my patriotic chore. And yes, it's true that I'm not the man I used to be. I still need some company.
Okay, that's a sample of Ruby Don't Take Your Love to Town by Kenny Rogers in the first edition. As you can tell, it's a very sad song, and now I'm just going to talk about the song first. It was written by a country artist named Mel Tillis, I think in 1967, and it's had many hit versions, well, many versions anyway, many recordings. I guess a couple hit versions. The first hit version was actually by this guy, Johnny Darrell, in 1967. He was a country artist. I haven't heard his version, but it was a country hit, not a pop hit. It went number 9 country. And Kenny Rogers in the first edition's version came out a couple of years later. Theirs was a pop hit. Went to number 6 on Billboard, so it was a pretty big hit for them. And the song's about, I think you can kind of tell from the lyrics, it's about a war vet. And most people thought it was about a Vietnam War vet because it came out during the Vietnam War when there was a lot of discontent for the war. Mel Tillis, the writer of the song, said it was really supposed to be about a World War II vet, which kind of surprised me. I mean, I'd even heard it was about a Korean War vet, which makes more sense to me because, you know, the beginning of the second verse, he says it wasn't me who started that old crazy Asian war. And I don't think too many people were talking about World War II as being a crazy Asian war. I think most people, at least most Americans, really wanted, victory both in Europe and in Asia. And I know that Korea wasn't as popular, although I think it was a lot more popular than Vietnam. And I know there were a lot of terrible, like in any war, there's always a lot of terrible casualties and a lot of terrible injuries. And this one's about, the vet in this song becomes paralyzed, I guess, from the waist down. He can't move. He's bedridden, which is really sad. Not only that, but he has a girlfriend who doesn't want to be with him anymore because of his injury. Because she wants, some good sex from a guy who can perform and he can't. So very, very sad song, one of the saddest songs I know. It's one of the reasons I'm glad I was never in the military. I mean, I've had my problems in life, but one of them wasn't being injured in a war, thankfully. But anyway, so that's the song. That's what it's about. And now I'm going to talk about the group Kenny Rogers in the first edition. I think you guys are all familiar with Kenny Rogers. If I'm not mistaken, he's the guy on the far right in this picture. Pretty recognizable. I mean, he became a really one of the best country artists, one of the most well-known country music artists of all time. But he got started with this kind of pop group, even sort of a psychedelic pop group. Kenny Rogers and the First Edition. I think they were just first just called the First Edition. But I guess Kenny Rogers really stood out in the band, so they shortly after became Kenny Rogers and the First Edition. They were formed in 1967. They were initially together from 67 to 76, but then, like most bands, they reunited a couple times. They reunited in 2010. I don't think they had the original members by then. They probably still had Kenny Rogers, though. And then also from 2014 to 2015. So a pretty long history for Kenny Rogers in the First Edition. The original members, which are shown on this slide, were included Kenny Rogers, who was the lead vocalist, as well as also played bass guitar. Also included Mickey Jones, who was on drums and percussion. Terry Williams, who was on guitar and vocals, Mike Settle, who was also on guitar and backing vocals, and Thelma Camacho, who was on lead vocals. So anyway, that was the original lineup for Kenny Rogers in the First Edition. Now I'm going to go through their hits. The first hit, this really surprised me when I learned that this song involved Kenny Rogers, but the first hit was a psychedelic, a really trippy song. Came out in 1968. It was called Just Dropped In to See What Condition My Condition Was In. And I think you can even kind of tell from the title that it was a psychedelic rock song. You know, I think only songs like that would have a title like that. And that one went all the way to number 5. Pretty great song. That one's coming up much higher on my list, by the way. Surprised me to learn that Kenny Rogers was involved in that song, because he never seemed like a kind of guy that would be all involved with drugs in a psychedelic band, but I guess he was. Anyway, 1969, they had a song called But You Know I Love You, which went to number 19. Now they started sounding more country, I'd say. And later that year, they had the song I'm featuring today, Ruby Don't Take Your Love to Town, which went to number 6. I guess that was their second and final top 10. Later that year, they had a song called Reuben James, which went to number 26. In 1970, they just missed the top 10 with Something's Burning, which went to number 11. And that was followed up with Tell It All Brother, which went to 17. And Heed the Call, which went to 33. In 1971, they had Someone Who Cares, which went to 51. And Take My Hand, which went to 91. Finally, in 1972, they had School Teacher, which also went to number 91. So those were all the hits for Kenny Rogers in the First Edition. Pretty great group, I'd say. I mean, Kenny Rogers was never really one of my favorite artists. I think I liked him better with the First Edition. And anyway, so that completes my profile of Ruby Don't Take Your Love to Town by Kenny Rogers in the First Edition. Thank you for watching. You guys rock, and I'll see you next time. Bye.